So welcome everyone, Om Shanti, to another amazing session, which is being organized every week almost between us two sister centers, that is Bahrain Meditation Center and Harmony House, Kuwait. And I know so many people are taking benefit, even when the lecture has finished, a lot of people are taking benefit thereafter. And so today we have another amazing speaker with several decades of experience in meditation, practicing what we say is divine attributes in life. So my name is Aruna. I'm going to be the MC for this evening. And I'd like to introduce our speaker this evening, who is actually my friend and my sister, my divine spiritual sister, not blood sister, but a very divine sister. And that is Miss Kiran Coyote. And she's actually speaking to us from Eugene in USA. And so you can imagine what time it is there. So I hope she's had her breakfast. So let me introduce to you Sister Kiran. So Sister Kiran has 40 years of teaching, learning and teaching Raj Yoga meditation. She's the director, currently she's the director of the Brahma Kumari's Peace Sanctuary, which is the meditation center in Eugene, which is in the state of Washington, the west coast of USA. And before that, she was actually the director of the Raj Yoga Meditation Center in Vancouver, and that's where we had spent time together. And I'll mention that in a minute. So she is currently the project manager of an international website for the Brahma Kumaris. Brahma Kumaris is an NGO organization affiliated to the United Nations. And Kiran also conducts regular trainings for Raj Yoga teachers. And she holds so as a background, Kiran was an administrator in traditional medical settings as well as corporate sector. She has also worked as a freelance trainer and as a methodologist and consultant to the Queen Alia Fund for social development in Jordan, and Zenga Miller, which is a training and development corporation. So Ms. Kiran Coyote holds a BS degree in human ecology from Cornell University and has a postgraduate background in holistic health and as a health educator / counselor. She's also authored several articles which have been published, as well as published books, a couple of books. One is called Your Divine Virtues. And the other one is a beautiful book, which went quite viral at that time, which is called The Jewel of Light, which was based on the life of the previous head of the Brahma Kumaris, and that is Prakashmani, Dadi Prakashmani. And so, I remember everybody falling in love with that book. And on a personal note, welcome to Kiran. And on a personal note, we get on really well. I love the way she thinks. I love the way she's so detached. I love the way that she's so clear. She has a very clear methodological way of thinking, presenting things. She's quite logical. And so I love having our deep conversations. And as I said, we spent time together about 4 years in Vancouver, which was a really fun time. She has a balance of being a child and a master. So although she has gray hair like me, but she's just as young-spirited as me. So welcome, Sister Kiran, to our talk this evening. We also have Arabic translation on the other Zoom. I think all of you know that password and code. So whoever needs Arabic translation can join that. So what will happen is Kiran will share for some time, however long she wants, and then we'll have question answers. So if you have any questions, please type them either in the Arabic Zoom or the English Zoom, and I will ask them to Sister Kiran. Thank you. Over to you. You're muted. Kiran, you're muted.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to wherever you are in the world. It's great having this opportunity to span the continents via Zoom. And I think we're all becoming zombies of some kind. The topic today is 5 ways to maintain inner peace. Oh, and before I start on it, I do want to just mention that Oregon is in the state of, Eugene is in the state of Oregon, not Washington. You might have been hearing that it's been in the news a lot lately because of the fires that have been going on here. And a lot of thousands of acres have just been burnt to a crisp. Many people have lost their homes, and many people have lost their lives. Many people have lost their livestock. And luckily, in the last couple of days, we've had rain. So I think that the fires are now coming under control. One another thing about that was that the air quality was beyond hazardous for about a week. So I'm still kind of a little scratchy in the throat, and it's probably because of the aftermath of these fires and the air pollution. I just like to mention that because this is really a time when people need a lot of inner peace. There's a lot of trauma out there in the state right now, as there is for various reasons in many parts of the world. So it's a timely topic. But the title, which was 5 Ways to Maintain Inner Peace, kind of presumes that you already have inner peace and you just need to know how to maintain it. It's like you have a house or a new car and you just need to know how to maintain it now. But do you really have it in the first place? And I just want to make sure we're all on the same page kind of when we're talking about inner peace. Because we know what inner peace isn't. It is not stress. It is not depression. It's not anxiety or fear. It's not regretting or resenting about something that happened in the past. It's not worrying about the future. Mostly, if you go and search on the internet for what is inner peace, it's defined by what it isn't, by the absence of pain and suffering or wanting or needing. Sometimes it's mistaken for something like passivity or just not being engaged. Oh, that person's really peaceful, because they don't really engage with life. They're not very fully participating in it, maybe because of some kind of fear or anxiety. But for me, peace is really a feeling of mental and spiritual harmony, serenity, contentment. So I want to think about it in terms of those positive qualities, not the absence of negative qualities. But what do we actually mean by inner? It's kind of interesting because until a few decades ago, when the practice of meditation started to become mainstream, we were not really thinking about inner peace. We were thinking about world peace. We had sessions on disarmament. We were trying to create, we had Nobel Peace Prizes to award people for strides towards peace. We had peace conferences, so many things. It was all like we were trying to get peace on the outside, but In 1979, or maybe it was 78, in California, they had the first Western Congress on meditation. And it was from that point, I think, that meditation, both meditation and this whole idea of inner peace, started to become a reality for people. And now, of course, it's become mainstream. The whole idea of meditation as an attempt to, as a method to attain inner peace. But what is the inner that we're talking about? I'm sure you've all heard the little story about the princess who lost her necklace, and she was searching everywhere for it, and only to ultimately discover it was hanging around her neck. The idea being that we all have that inner peace within us, that we've just forgotten it. It's gone missing somehow. So let's just take a minute to see if we can go to the inner place where we can experience this inner peace. I'll just speak a few words. Just become aware, first of all, of the feeling of your body sitting in the chair. Just forget about all the flickering Zoom pictures in front of you. And focus your attention on yourself, as though you're the only one hearing these words. And become aware that you're hearing them through the speakers on the sides of your head. And the sound of the words is going inside. And you are experiencing the sound of them. You're also experiencing the feeling of your body sitting in the chair. And just take a moment to make sure that the body's relaxed and comfortable, that you're not holding any tension anywhere. Be aware of your breath. Inhale and exhale. And maybe you can even be aware of your heart beating. All of these things are ways to relax the body and become more peaceful. But who is it that's experiencing the peace? Who is it that's experiencing the awareness of the self? You are the experiencer. And you are different than the body. You're different than the senses through which you experience. You are the being, which is the second part of human being. The human part refers to the body. The being is you. So just take a minute to see if you can experience the reality of these two separate things. I, the experiencer, the being of awareness, and the body, the senses through which I experience things. This is the inner place that we need to come to experience peace. And inside this inner space that we all have, there's also a lot of peacelessness sometimes. There's peacelessness in the form of thoughts jumping around in the mind. There's peacelessness in the form of feelings coming up out of the heart, feelings of hurt or rejection or frustration. And so, how do we find the peace in this inner space? Is it something that we've just forgotten? Actually, the reason we're searching for this inner peace is because we had it at one point and we don't have it now. And that's why we're looking for it. If you have never tasted pizza, and somebody says, "Do you want to go and get some pizza?" Well, I don't know, maybe. It's not something you'd actively go running after. But if you've had a good piece of pizza and you like it, then yes, you'd want to go find another piece of it. And it's the same with peace. So we're not going after a piece of pizza, we're going after internal serenity and peace. And it means that we must have experienced it at some point. Now, if you can get a sense of yourself as the experiencer separate from the vehicle of the body or the instrument of the body, then one of the things about that is you have to be aware that there was a time when you came into this body and started an experience. And there's going to be a time when the body expires and you're going to leave it, you, the one who's experiencing it. So we don't necessarily think of ourselves in this way very often, but this is a very useful perspective to cultivate if you want to experience inner peace, because the implication is that I'm actually just a guest in this body. I came into it at one point, and at some point I'm going to leave it, and while I'm here, it's a temporary thing. I'm just a guest. I don't even own it, do I? I didn't certainly make it. So I'm like a guest. I'm a visitor here in this body. Another way of thinking of it is that I'm a traveler, and I'm traveling through the journey of life. And this is the vehicle in which I'm traveling, the journey of life, in which I'm navigating through the currents of life. And if I think of myself as a guest or a traveler, then I'm aware of all the things of this world, all the stuff, this physical house that the body is in, and all the stuff that's in the house. I'm aware of the things of this world like money and relationships and parties and music. And I'm aware of sports and smartphones and computers and technology and politics and science and religion. But none of it really, it's all stuff I'm experiencing here as a guest. It's not really who I am or part of me. And so if I have this awareness as a guest or as a traveler, I'm just passing through, it's all temporary, then I'm not going to be quite so attached to it as I am otherwise. One of the reasons that we've lost our inner peace is that we became identified with the car, with the vehicle, with the transport mechanism to take us through this journey of life. and we've forgotten our essential nature. And so we've gotten very attached and attracted to the things of the world outside of our senses. There's one of the funny kind of ways that we, in the West at least, show this identity. Let's say you're going clothes shopping and you find this outfit and you really like it and you say to someone, that is so me, right? We're identified with these things. And so we will pick those kinds of clothes as opposed to clothes that are better for somebody else. We all have our own unique individual sets of identities. And they come with a lot of labels, country and religion and political viewpoints and color of the skin, culture, so many things that we tag as part of this external identity. And all of those things, because we're attached to them and attracted to them, they create differences among us. I'm like this, you're like that. She's like that, and he's like this. And this often is a cause of loss of inner peace. We're trying to define ourselves in certain ways so that we get respect, so that we get love from people, so that we have a place in society and we can feel a sense of belonging. But we're relying on all these temporary supports, all of which change when we leave the one vehicle. It's all not who we really are. And so to get a sense of peace means to cultivate this sense of being a guest and a traveler, or another way it's said in spiritual terms is to become a detached observer. Many faith traditions talk about non-attachment or detachment. Why? Because it's the things that we're so attached to that disturb our inner peace. So is it possible to become detached? Yes. It's by cultivating this perspective of being the guest, the traveler, the actor, the visitor, like that. Now, the thing about being a guest and a traveler also is the fact that we came from somewhere. We came from our home to go on this journey, to play this part, to be an actor. And so our home is beyond this world. It's not in this physical world. It's not of this world. It's a realm or a dimension of pure consciousness. We are beings of consciousness. We're not made out of matter. We can't be seen with the physical eyes. We can see the body, but how are you going to see that little being, that experiencer that you are? We conceptualize it on the spiritual path as light energy, a spark of luminous living energy, sometimes called the soul or the spirit. And we all have a home that's beyond this plane of physicality, a home that is a realm of silence, of pure consciousness, of simple awareness. And the awareness in that home is the awareness of peace, of silence. And we all want to go home because that's the place where we can truly be ourselves. We can be at peace. We can be calm, content, serene when we're home. And so we will leave this costume at some point and we will go home. But before we go there, we can experience it now through meditation. And so this experience of going home, one of the implications about that too is that we all go home. We all have the same home. So from the spiritual point of view, we actually are all one family. We all belong to the same family of kindred spirits. We're all beings of consciousness. We're all beings of awareness. We all came from that same place of peace and silence into this world of drama to play our parts. And now is the time when we need to start remembering our home and getting ready to go back there so that we can go back there with a feeling of peace and easiness, not with a feeling of fear or anxiety or confusion. So not only do we all belong to one family, but our parent is in that home as well. That parent soul, the supreme, the one that we all, from all different faith traditions, think of as God. If we think of that soul as the ocean of peace, the ocean of wisdom, because that soul hasn't one iota of peacelessness. That soul is that soul, the supreme soul, because that soul has no depression or fear or anxiety or any of those things. Zero of those things. And so in the company of that soul, when I go home and I experience home in meditation, home is filled with the vibrations of that soul, the vibrations of unending peace, unconditional love, and sweetness and bliss. And so meditation is my means for accessing that experience and that connection with that source of unending peace and unlimited love. So when we're talking about inner peace, to me, that's what we're talking about. And I hope we're kind of on the same page now. If you have had that experience of that deep calm, the silence of mind, the sweetness of that serenity that comes from detaching from all the busyness of the world and all this stuff, and going into that space of silence, light, purity, and peace, then you know what inner peace is. So I hope through some of this I've touched a resonance within you, triggered a resonance within you of remembering that sense of peace when you're just beyond this world. Maybe you've experienced it on top of a mountain sometime, or by a calm lake, where you just felt so detached from all the rest of the clamor of the world and just at peace with yourself, with nature, in harmony with everything. That's the inner peace that we're talking about. So now we can talk about how to maintain it. One of the things that you need to maintain inner peace is to practice it. Because whatever you practice, you get good at. There's a little video floating around on the internet, and probably I got it from Aruna, of this professor. He's telling a story, and the story he's telling is about this Chinese archer who was just really exceptionally good. He just would shoot his bow and arrow, and every time he landed a bullseye. And so he had this whole crowd around him just marveling at what an amazing marksman he was with his bow and arrow. But there was this guy in the crowd who was just not impressed at all. And he just kept muttering, well, it's only a matter of practice. It's only a matter of practice. And finally, the archer was kind of annoyed, and he said, look, can you do what I can do? And the archer said, no, I can't, but it's only a matter of practice. I'll show you. And so the guy in the audience actually was an oil salesman. He sold cooking oil or something. And he had this big jug of oil, and he put this jar. It was kind of a jar with a bulbous base and a very long, skinny stem. And he put this jar on the table, and he took this huge jug of oil, and he poured some oil into that jar, and he poured it in that little tiny narrow hole, and it went down into that bulbous base, and he did the whole thing, filled the jar without spilling a drop. And he says to the archer, can you do that? And the archer said, well, no, I haven't ever done anything like that before. I just don't know. I don't think I could do it. And so the oil salesman said, well, you see, it's only a matter of practice. And so the point is that, and the point the professor was making was that whatever you practice, you get good at. And the other example he was giving was that if you practice complaining, you get very good at complaining. And pretty soon there isn't anything that you can't complain about. Even if it's a wonderful day and it's just a perfect wonderful day, you'll find something to complain about because you're so good at it. So in the same way, if you want to get good at inner peace, you have to practice meditation. And so you have to create a space for it in your life. And you have to do it regularly. Regularity is very important because there's a little formula that goes results equals understanding plus practice. And so you could be understanding what I'm saying, but if you don't practice it, you're not going to get the experience. And on the other hand, if you're practicing it and you're not getting an experience, maybe you need some additional understanding. So that's the first thing, practice. And in that, not only do you need to create a space and create a time and create a commitment to doing this regularly, it doesn't have to be a long time. Even if you just spend just a couple of minutes every day to start with, practicing to stop, slow down, tune in, try to remember that you're the traveler, you're the guest, you're sitting in this forehead of this form, this vehicle, you've got all your senses tuned, and you're just sitting in the driver's seat, waiting for a light. You're not moving. You're just being with yourself. Even if you do that a few times a day, you will start to develop a liking for it because it helps you gain clarity, it helps you gain focus, it helps you settle all the constant chatter that's going on in your mind. And if you get it into a habit, then the practice becomes even easier. I have some friends who practice Kundalini yoga. And from them I learned that it takes 40 days to develop a habit. That means you've got to do something regularly every single day for 40 days, and then it's become a habit. Okay, and then you don't really have to think twice about it. You're just naturally going to kind of tend to do it. And then if you do it for 90 days, You're actually confirming the habit. You're making it part of your life. And now, if you don't do it, it feels weird, like something's missing. And then, if you do it for 120 days, which isn't really a long time, it's only like 4 months, right? So between now and the 1st of 2021, you have a good chance to actually do it for 120 days. And at the end of that, other people will notice that something about you has changed. So this is how you bring something into your self in such a way that you become an embodiment of it. And if your aim is to become an embodiment of inner peace, well, you've got 4 months to make it a reality. So the second thing, besides practice, is that you have to explore and experiment in order to experience it. Because one of the problems with this whole thing is that I can't do it for you. Nobody can do it for anybody else. This is something you have to do for yourself. And it's really not a selfish thing, because making yourself peaceful is going to make you a whole lot nicer to be around. And other people are going to really like being around you because they're going to be getting peace from you. So it's not really a selfish thing. And within that, you need to, in order to explore and experiment and experience, you need to let go of any expectations or any judgment on yourself of how you're doing. Like, you can't expect, okay, is this it? Am I really experiencing it? Or I should be getting, flashes of brilliant light and a feeling of euphoria and some kind of blissed out state. Those expectations are not going to help you achieve inner peace. And if you're doing your practice and regularly sitting down every day and spending a few minutes trying to go inside and see yourself as this spark of living, luminous energy, the guest playing its part through the body, and on some days you just aren't getting anything. Your mind is like stuck somewhere and all you can think about is something else. Don't judge yourself and don't give up. Just keep at it. It'll come. Have faith and persevere. So practice and then explore, experiment, and experience. And then accept things. Because as a traveler, as a guest, and as a detached observer, you just are going to have to accept what is. Like, you think about it. If you go on vacation and the park is closed because of wildfires or some other kind of thing is there, it's colder than you expected and you didn't bring enough clothes or whatever, you just have to accept the things the way they are, right? And deal with them. So in the same way, when you're a guest, when you're a traveler in this body, every situation is another opportunity for you to increase your power of acceptance of what is. And that means not reacting to it. Whatever's going on is not a reflection of you. You're just a guest. You're just visiting. And what's going on is just going on. And if you see it with that level of acceptance, then you're not going to try to change other people. You're not going to try to make people play a part different than what they're playing, because that's the part they've been dealt and they're playing it. You'll accept it. Anyway, what is trying to change things is you're getting involved, you're getting attached again, your ego's coming in and saying, you know how things should be better than they are. And so when things are not going your way, that's what disturbs your inner peace. So the more I can cultivate this attitude of acceptance, of tolerance, of patience, of just accept it, then the more peaceful you're going to remain in any situation. So acceptance is the third thing. And then you do have to conquer a few enemies, because there will be distractions that'll come and say, "Oh, you did it yesterday. Don't bother today. You'll get back to it tomorrow." Distractions. Ants. Do you know what ants are? ANTS. Ants are automatic negative thoughts. You see something and the thought pops in your mind, "Oh, I don't like that," or "I don't like the way that person's behaving," or "I didn't like the sound of the way they talked to me." Automatic negative thoughts. Ants. And ants, when they get inside your ear, they drive you crazy. They definitely destroy your inner peace. And so you've got distractions, you've got ants, and you've got things like carelessness and laziness and fear and jealousy and anger and, desires and attractions and stuff like that. Both attractions and distractions. So you've got to conquer those in order to have your inner peace. And to conquer those, you really have to see that what's the result of going there? What's the result of those things? Is it going to give me inner peace? Is it going to get me to my destiny? Is it going to help me in any way? Is it useful? Probably not. So being able to see these things and to be honest with yourself about them will help you build up the willpower to let them go, because you see that they're not helping you, they're not taking you forward on your spiritual journey as a traveler. So realizing that there are certain blind alleys or nowhere roads to go also helps you set your path straight on your journey. So conquer these enemies. And then the fifth point is that you really have to express your inner peace. You can't just go off in a cave somewhere and be peaceful by yourself, and that's fine. But you are part of this human family, and you have to express your peace, your inner peace, to others, because they will benefit from it. They will benefit from your vibrations of peace. They will benefit from your attitude of detachment. They will benefit from the love that you can give. Like, when a guest comes, they love being there. When you're a guest somewhere, you're not critical. You love the people you're visiting. So that attitude, that love, that care, that compassion that you can have when you're detached is something that's going to benefit everyone. So don't just keep your inner peace to yourself, but express it outward. Even if you're just sitting by yourself, you can be sending thoughts of peace to people that you know who are suffering, to situations, even to the elements of nature that are wreaking havoc somewhere. You can visualize them calming down and being peaceful. And all of this changes not only your own experience of peace, but it changes the atmosphere and the vibrations around you. And so I wanted to share with you something that came to me just this morning in WhatsApp, because it's very appropriate to not only what we're talking about in terms of our impact of inner peace on ourselves and others, but also in terms of the current situation. It is a scientific point of view about viruses and vibrations. And it's from the field of pro-quantum medicine, which I don't know anything about. So it says that the coronavirus, like any other virus, is a low vibration entity. It has a closed structure of electromagnetic circuit with a resonant frequency of about 5.5 hertz to 14.5 hertz. Hertz is a frequency measure. In higher ranges than that, this virus dies. For a person living in low vibrations, it can cause acute respiratory infections. But the human body whose soul is healthy vibrates in a higher range. Unfortunately, a lot of people live in lower vibrations. And the reasons can come from various disturbances like fatigue, emotional exhaustion, hypothermia, chronic disease, fear, blocked emotions, nervous tension, etc. The virus in nature, outside the body, is not resistant, since the total average frequency resonance of the Earth is 27.4 hertz. But there are places where the frequency is lower, such as hospitals, prisons, power lines, public transportation, electric vehicles, shopping centers, offices, where the vibrations are less than 20 hertz. And for all of those who are in the ego, the virus can even have more impact, and therefore it's dangerous. For example, if someone's grieving, their vibrations are from 0.1 to 2 hertz. If someone is in fear, it's from 0.2 to 2.2. If you're resenting, your vibes are only 0.6 up to 3.3. All of this is a lower vibration than the virus, right? So you're likely to attract it. The vibration of anger is 1.4. And the vibration of ego and feeling superior is 1.9. But now, look at the other side of it. The vibrations of the feelings of generosity, 95 hertz. More than 3 times the vibration of the planet. The vibrations of gratitude, 45 hertz. And deep gratitude, it can go up to 140 hertz. Feelings of unity and community, 144 hertz. Compassion, 150 hertz. Love, 50 hertz. And really love, lots of love, 150 hertz. Unconditional universal love, 205 hertz. So we can increase our vibrations by focusing on our inner peace. And so the advice they're giving in this little article says, clear your conscience of all the negative emotions and vibrate high. Vibrate love. Be love. Be in joy. Heal your wounds. Quickly get rid of your fears and your anger, and free yourself from those emotions which lower your vibrations. So be safe, be healthy, and raise your vibrations through meditation, yoga, and these positive feelings, and the development of inner peace. So Shanti, I think I'll stop there and see if you have some, hope this was helpful, if you have some questions.
Yeah, Kiran, maybe we can just do a little meditation for just
Okay.
5 minutes, and then we can have questions. And
Okay, so once again, become aware of yourself as the experiencer, the spark of living, luminous, intelligent energy that gives life to the body that you're sitting in. And try to get a sense of yourself sitting in the forehead of the body behind the eyes, using the eyes, the windows of the soul, using the speakers on the sides of your head, but letting go of the awareness of all the rest of the body for the moment. Remembering that you are the soul, the spiritual being, the experiencer, the one who is a guest in this body, a traveler through life's journey. And that your state of awareness is by nature naturally silent and peaceful. Your mind is quiet. You're just being. And you're being peaceful. And as you're being peaceful, remember your home of peace. Just go there for a minute in your mind, remembering that place of peace beyond peace. Where the vibrations of unconditional love and acceptance from the Supreme envelop you, embrace you with total acceptance. You're a being of peace. You're loved by God. This is your eternal, most natural state. You've been in this place before. You will return to this place once more. And just allow yourself to soak up and soak in this unlimited peace. This unconditional love. This sweetness of contentment. And as you bring your awareness back to the room you're in, to the body you're sitting in, to the other flickering images on your Zoom screen. Bring this feeling with you of peace and let it emerge as a vibration, as a feeling, as an energy, a very high vibration that you're transmitting out into the world. Om Shanti.
Thank you, Kiran. I'd like to ask
Your voice is going in and out.
question.
Before.
So you mentioned that, I wanted to ask a question that you talked about peace being our natural state and something that we have tasted, and that's why we are drawn to that. But then what about anger and frustration, irritation? Where do those feelings come from? Because we are also attracted to those. So what is the difference?
Right. You know, I don't think we really are attracted to anger and those negative feelings because we like them. They're compelling to us in certain ways. But it isn't that, you go out and look for something that's going to make you angry, or you're going to go out and look for something that's going to make you afraid, right? You're not sitting in doing some kind of seminar to find 5 ways to become angry. Or, you know what I'm saying? So I like to think of those things as symptoms of the sickness or the illness that we've kind of picked up when we forgot our true nature and we forgot our spiritual self. We forgot our original experience of peace, and we got so identified with this stuff in this physical world. And in that state of identification with things in this physical world, that's when our spiritual immune system got very weak. And we picked up these things like they're like viruses to me. Anger and attachment and fear and hatred and jealousy and ego. All these things are like aspects of the disease that we're in, but they're not part of us originally. It's like when you get the flu or when you get the virus that's going on right now, that's not the way your body was designed. It's supposed to be healthy. And so you have to take medicine to get rid of it, right? And the medicine that we're taking is the meditation. And this meditation, the pull of the positive, of the peace, the love, etc., the attraction to that eventually overcomes the pull of these other negative forces. You've been there, done that. You don't want to do it anymore. And you want the peace and the love because it's so fulfilling. It's so satisfying. And it brings you so close to other people and brings harmony and cooperation and wonderful things into your life. So then the taste for those other things goes away quickly. In fact, you realize it's a disease. You just want to get rid of it. Yeah? Does that answer the question?
Yeah, very nice, very nice. And just the other point from your talk again, where you mentioned about it takes 40 days to make a habit, 90 days to reinforce it, and 120 days to really show the change. So that's also applicable to the negative forces. So I guess the difference is intention. You didn't really talk much about intention. Maybe if you can talk about how important intention is.
Yeah, I was I meant to talk about that when I talked about practice. And I forgot to say that those 5 things are practice for P. It spells peace, right? Practice, explore, experiment, experience is the E, acceptance is the A, conquer the enemies is the C, and then express it is the other E. So that was an acronym that you could use to remember. But going back to the practice,
That's lovely.
yeah, you do need intention in order to maintain a practice. And so you need to, what is going to motivate you is the outcome that you want. You need to, if you at least get a little taste of it, it will attract you again. But your intention is that you want more of it. You want more of that peace in your life. You understand that if you have more inner peace, then you're going to have more satisfaction in your life. Things are going to get easier. People will like you, and your vibrations will go on a higher level. And that's your intention for doing it. One of the things that we say in the Brahma Kumaris is that when we change, the world changes. So if I can change myself, if I can make myself more peaceful, I can help the world to change. I can go out there and have protests and demonstrate for peace forever if I want, but that's not going to necessarily bring more peace in the world. I remember when I was in California in the 70s, I was studying a course in holistic health, and one of the instructors was, there were a lot of peace things going on at that time. And he was sharing his experience. He'd just been in a peace march, and everybody was yelling and screaming and being very peaceless. And it struck him, what was he doing being peaceless in a peace march? And so I think we all have to recognize that if we want there to be peace in the world, we have to be peaceful. And that's our intention for this inner peace. I don't know if that answers your question, but
Yeah, lovely. Very nice. So there's 1 or 2 questions from the chat. Whoever else would like to ask, please write your questions. So there's a 2-part question. One is, why do humans get attached to things? And why do we desire? Because if we knew the reason, then we can avoid the habit. So why do we get attached and why do we have desire?
mm-hmm. Okay. So we started out peaceful. We came into this physical realm of existence and we started playing our part. And so we started to invest our thoughts and energies into the stuff around us and into other people and things. And so in a way we're spreading ourselves thinner, in terms of our attention. And now we have so many millions of things that we're paying attention to, and we're even multitasking, right? So we're losing the wholeness that we initially experienced. It's getting diffused into all these other areas. And so there's like a loss of energy. When you've got to pay attention to a whole bunch of things, then you get tired out more quickly. You don't have as much energy. You're spreading yourself thin. And so, to me, this is the state in which our spiritual immune system goes down. And then we don't have that immunity to negative forces, and they start to infect us like those viruses, right? And so that's how we catch the cold of anger or the, flu of greed or whatever. To me, that's how it works. Yeah.
Are we attracted unconsciously to these things?
Well, I think a
Oh,
theory that people have, that these are natural, that we can't live without them, that, desire is innate and you're going to want, things, and it's natural to get angry when somebody insults you and all these kinds of things. But then, if that's true, then you are not in control. If you're so subject to influence, you cannot become a master of your own mind again. You can't get back that wholeness. You're forever going to be, pulled here, pulled there. Just give up, no hope then. So, but from my understanding as a spiritual practitioner, we started out in a state of wholeness and we allowed ourselves to go into all these other directions, and therefore we can pull ourselves back in, rein in all the different horses of attention going here and there, and we can bring our focus back. And another thing that I didn't mention, which I wanted to mention, and this has to do with partly with this thing about the vibrations and how gratitude and love and all these, they were way up there on the Hertz scale, right? There's a researcher, his name is I think it's Robert Waldman, or Robert Mark Waldman. I can't remember which name comes first. But anyway, and I've forgotten, I meant to look it up, but he's a researcher of some neuroscience field at some university in New Jersey. And there's a TED Talk by him out there. Anyway, they've discovered through neuroscience that just things like inner peace or thinking about God, whether you believe in God or not, it actually changes the dendrites in your brain. And so if you think about God, and he's got brain scans of a Buddhist nun and a Christian monk or something, and he's comparing them both, and they're both thinking about different things, but the things that they're thinking about are big ideas. And when you have a big idea, it changes your brain. So when you think about big ideas like inner peace, or one of the biggest ideas you can think about is, what is your deepest, innermost value? That's a big idea. To contemplate, what is your deepest, innermost value? For some people, it's love. For some people, it's truth. For some people, it's wisdom. For some people, it's compassion. It doesn't matter what it is, but whatever yours is, if you think about that, you are changing your brain. And if you change your brain with these big ideas, it brings all kinds of positive benefits to your life. It can even extend your lifespan. So I just wanted to mention in terms of intention.
yeah, very nice. Thank you. And there's also some people who think, right? There's this notion that you've got to have a bit of sorrow to really experience the happiness. And there are some people who feel you've got to have a bit of taste of both. Otherwise, life is not so spicy, right? Any comment on that?
Well, we've all had experiences of sorrow, right? So do we still have to keep having them? We've had enough to know that let's be happy now. Let's have the other side. We don't need to carry those on with us.
True.
Because really, what we can do in the world and for our families and for ourselves when we're full and happy and peaceful and feeling generous and compassionate and loving and, you know, being an embodiment of truth, there's so much more impact on the world that that's going to have to help other people and to uplift the energy of the world. Why would we need to spend any more time with the sorrow? We've been there, we've done it. That's what I feel about it.
Okay, there's a question from the Arabic Zoom side, where the translate meditation for 40 days. And in particular, she's meaning Kundalini meditation. So what I'd like to say is maybe you can give the difference between the Raj Yoga meditation and Kundalini also.
Okay, well, Kundalini yoga is a whole range of practices. A lot of them have to do with physical practices like taking cold showers every morning. I haven't worked up to doing that for 40 days in a row yet to make it a habit. I'm thinking about it.
I remember though, Kiran, you were taking cold showers at one point.
I was, yeah. I never did it for 40 days. It never became a habit. But yeah, it's another path of practice. A lot of it has to do with the physical postures and mudras and things like that. I just had friends that are quite good at it, and I never got into it very much, but we definitely resonated with each other's vibrations. And I don't know if you know Sanatam Kaur. She's a Kundalini yogi who's produced a number of musical albums, and she always loves to come and visit the BKs. So we're good friends with them. But it's a different path.
Okay, there is another question, bit off topic, but I think it's good. What's your explanation on synchronicity? Any comments on synchronicity?
Well, I think what synchronicity is for me is a sign that actually we're all connected. We all swim in this sea of consciousness, and sometimes it clicks, it resonates, something happens, and it's like proof that there's a connection there. Um, you're thinking about somebody and the phone rings, for example, or you run into someone that you haven't seen in a long time, and all of a sudden new things just start clicking and opening up for you, or whatever it is. But I think it's because we all, even though we're individually on our journey through life, we're all together collectively on a journey through life, and we're all connected. We are all part of one family, even though we have different modes of expression in so many different ways. And those moments of synchronicity just are natural occurrences that happen when a couple of connections come together at the right moment.
Right. There's another question. How to get detached from those you love?
Right. Okay. Just one more thing about the synchronicity. I think a lot of people read into it things that, okay, these two things came together, so this means this, right? And it's possible that that's true. It could mean something, but you don't want to go too much into it. You always need to be a little bit detached and just see. Sorry, so what was this next question?
How to be detached from those
you love. All right. Well, it's not easy to be detached from those you love because you spend a lot of time around them. Maybe you came out of their womb or they came out of yours, so there's even a physical, biological connection. Um, so, but from a spiritual perspective, you have to cultivate the vision and attitude towards those you love that they are also souls and they are also on their own spiritual journey. They're also travelers, they're also guests, and you just happen to be in these scenes of the journey together and you're playing your parts together. But again, it's temporary, it's not going to last forever. Eventually, one of you is going to leave or go on or something. And so, if I'm attached, it's going to give me grief when that relationship changes. And so, because it's going to give me grief, it's not a positive thing. Now, many people confuse love with attachment, sorry. And they think that you can't have love without attachment. If you listen to a popular song on the radio, you know, oh baby, I can't live without you. I love you so much, right? But that's not love. That's really attachment. Because if it's really love, real, true love, has to be unconditional. It's not, I'll love you as long as you're living up to my expectations, which is sometimes the kind of conditional love we parents have towards our children. And if they don't live up to our expectations, if they start doing things that reflects badly on the way we brought them up, then that causes us a lot of sorrow. So attachment isn't really love. Attachment is a negative thing. But love loves no matter what. No matter what you do, no matter how you are, no matter what you're going through, love is love. And whether you're here, whether you're not.
Yeah. So we've actually run out of time, but I just want to respect, there's two questions. So maybe 30-second answers for each, or even shorter. One is, what is the ultimate purpose, peace or happiness?
Do I have to choose? I think peace and happiness.
Well, respecting your opinion, so
Twins.
from you.
You have to have them both.
Oh, okay. Okay, and then another question, which is, if we know that peace is our inner virtue, then why are we not peaceful all the time?
Because we forget that peace is our inner virtue. We're in amnesia. We're not in the experience of it. And that's why we need to practice the meditation to get the experience repeatedly over and over again so that it comes back to us instantly, so that we can return to it in a second.
Very nice, very nice. So let me just revise, as Sister Kiran was saying, peace. We've talked about maintaining inner peace, which is practice for P, practice every day, explore and experiment in order to experience, and of course, don't have any expectations. Acceptance, conquer distractions, and then that was very lovely what you said about ants, automatic negative thoughts. And I think the last was express, right? PE for express your inner peace. Yeah. So thank you so much. It's been lovely. And although it's a simple topic, but just so nice to go back to it. I enjoyed listening myself, just to go back to basics. So thank you to you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you to all
I
of
just
you.
want to say thank you. Thank, thank you to everyone who attended. And also thank you to Awatif, who is translating in the Zoom, and to everyone on the Zoom as well for attending. So we had about 160 people between Arabic Zoom, English Zoom, and YouTube. So thank you to all of you. And
Okay.
everybody's saying thank you to you on the chat.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.